What's up, guys? This is Cory.
This is Allen.
Welcome to CNA Films and Animation. Well, today's Friday, and thought I'd do a little something different. Recently saw a movie that came out this year, and I wanted to review it.
Did it come out this year or last year?
It came out
2012.
It came out officially this year.
Okay.
It had it was in a festival of some kind last year, but it was officially released this year, in limited release. And that film was
John Dies at the End.
Based on a book by David Wan with the same title. It's basically about a new drug has hit this streets, basically. It's called soy sauce, and it basically makes you see things and hear things that you, I guess, wouldn't hear normally.
Yes, and it allows you to see what will happen.
Yeah.
To a point.
You basically gain, not really superpowers, but just kind of like a hyper...
sensitivity.
Exactly.
Which that's only half the plot.
Yes.
It takes a weird twist halfway. This film is kind of weird in a good way. My only, a fault I have with this movie is halfway it seems to ditch its own plot to go this other way. And it's supposedly tied together, but it doesn't really crappily, I'd say.
Okay.
Because it's following this drug, which has otherworldly connections.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's this alternate reality. And it's supposed to be the same thing, but it is two different entities. Which I know that's not going to make any sense without watching this movie, but...
Or reading the book.
Yes. So I was a little confused at this part, because it just switches. And it's supposedly try and go for one solid thing.
Well, this movie is kind of a comedy. It's kind of a horror movie, kind of a... It's definitely a fantasy.
Yes.
And... I think it does a good job at mixing the fantasy elements with the comedy at points. There's definitely some very funny moments that occur. We don't want to take away any of the funny moments if you do decide to see this film. Just know that you're in for a weird ride if you do.
Yeah, it's weird. It can be fun. It's odd.
Mm-hmm.
They had some very neat ideas, and I'll give them that. I've not read the book, but I'd like to.
I've read part of the book. I'm not even halfway through it. I've recently started reading it. So even before I watched the movie, I'm starting to read it. So I basically know about the first 20 pages of the book. That's about it. But it's from the first 20 pages, I thought it followed the book pretty well. Not that's saying much. It's about a 300-page book, and first 20 pages. So, but anyway, the acting I thought was it worked in the film. They did a pretty good job I thought.
The main character it follows, I thought was iffy at times.
Okay.
Some of the supporting actors I thought were pretty good.
What about some of the special effects? What did you think of some of that? Like the creature effects that happened throughout.
The special effects were alright. Some were decent, some were meh. They had this creature that looks kind of like a scorpion. I didn't care for its design. It looked kind of, I guess, old school bad. But what about you? What you think of it?
Yeah, I generally, for the most part, liked a lot of the special effects in this. The thing that he's talking about, I can see where you could dislike it. I didn't have a problem with it myself. There was a really rather neat monster in the beginning of the movie. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but it was rather interesting, and the way he is killed off, I guess, was different.
Yeah, that was very neat. One thing I think that would have been neat for him to do, twice in it they mentioned, I guess they see supernatural beings of some sort, and people see him differently.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it's early in the movie, same part he's talking about. This one guy saying, "Oh, she looks like this," and his buddy's like, "No, she doesn't." Ah, crap. And they're supposed to just this supernatural entity is supposed to, I guess, appeal to each person individually. So to hide, I guess,
Okay, yeah.
I think it'd be neat if they actually had put that in there, like show it from one of the guys' point of view and then the other instead of just the one. I think it would have been neat. You know?
From John's perspective and David's perspective.
Yes, it just shows it from David's perspective.
Yeah.
Which, some ideas they had were pretty neat, some were okay. The initial plot that this film's going for is ended before the movie ends. I didn't necessarily like that.
Okay.
Which it's supposed to, as I mentioned before, it's supposed to continue on, but it's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't thrilled with the ending because I wasn't sure exactly what it was going for.
Which ending? Ending number 1 or ending number 2?
Ending number 2.
Okay.
I think that was when they're playing basketball.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's a second ending that happens with the credits, and it seems like they're trying to build up a sequel, which the book did have a sequel. It was titled "This Book is Filled with Spiders."
yeah.
So it'd be interesting. I wonder if they'll keep the title if they do make a sequel. If they'll change it to "This film is this film has a lot of spiders."
This film is filled with spiders.
Yeah, something like that, or if it'll just be John dies at the end too. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
They may not even make a sequel because I don't think it did very well in the box office.
It made, in the box office, opening weekend, $12,000. Grossed $141,000.
Well, for a limited release, that's not too bad. But then again, I mean, it could have been a lot better.
The, I guess, storytelling of this movie wasn't the greatest. Its flow, its beginning, didn't really go with the ending for me because they're John and David are, I guess, supernatural hunters.
Yeah, something like that.
And it never, by the end of the thing, it never really got to that point. It never said it. They just saved the world, and that's it. The way it's described, John had been. It hints that John had been doing that for a long time, but never actually pulls it out and says that.
Mm-hmm.
And then David just kind of joins in, but it never really gets to that. And the second ending, just I couldn't tell, was it supposed to be after the first ending, after the when they save the world? Are they being serious in the last ending? Is it just a hint at a sequel? What is it supposed to be? It just confused me. I did like this film for most part, but it did have a lot of inconsistencies and rough spots.
Yeah.
You have anything to add?
I really enjoyed this film. I would put this in my, I really enjoy. I'd pretty much list this in the category of so weird, so bizarre. I don't know why I liked it as much as I did, but I just absolutely fell in love with it, I guess. There's about 5 or 6 movies that are like that with me. I enjoyed this. It seemed like it had an interesting idea, and sure, some of it doesn't always work, but for something like this, I was able to kind of get past a lot of those inconsistencies, I guess. But I really enjoyed it. What would you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, I would give it a 6.
6?
Yeah.
Okay. I would probably give this an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Sure, it had some inconsistencies and stuff. I haven't read the book. Like I said, I'm just now starting it, so it may not be as good as the book. I'd read the book first. The book definitely has a very quirky style to it. But yeah, I did enjoy it. If you go into this with an open mind, maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. It's hard to say, really. You may hate it, who knows. Well, so tell me, guys, have you seen John Dies at the End?
Have you read the book?
If you have seen this movie, did you like it? Did you dislike it?
Was the movie follow the book anywhere close besides the first 20 minutes?
Comment below, let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback, and
Be sure to check out our other videos.
be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe.
I'm Cory.
I'm Allen.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
See you later.